Every now and then this lo-fi indie bedroom pop type stuff sticks with me. I'm never quite sure why, because a lot of it is very similar, but some albums seem to resonate with me more than others, and this Zack Villere album is certainly up there with one of my favourite ones in recent years, I'd say. I know a lot of people give high praise to Sandy, or also known as Alex G, but I thought his latest album wasn't that compelling all the way through, to be honest, but I think Zack Villere has a bit more of a charm to him. I think that his kind of like cutesy instrumentals seem to sit with me much better than other albums in this style. A lot of the time the instrumentation is very subtle, there's kind of not really much complex going on, but his vocals actually are really good, and a lot of the time you can pull out some really good melodies that stick with you that I wasn't expecting at all to get out of this album. I do love the innocence to this guy as well. He's kind of like this nerdy little character who doesn't always come across as very confident. I don't think he's like the most confident guy when it comes to relationships, and that kind of comes through on the track Next, where he's talking about like, oh, you want to go for coffee tomorrow? I don't even like coffee, but he's the kind of socially awkward guy that would probably say, yeah, let's do that, even though in his mind he's thinking, I don't want to do that. But the instrumentation across this whole thing is much brighter and sunnier than a lot of the lo-fi stuff that you find around, because his vocals are very upfront, which is a big plus for me because I'm kind of bored of hearing like these drenched in reverb vocals across a lot of albums. That is adding to the aesthetic, but a lot of the time I don't feel like it has that much staying power. It's kind of like just in and out of your ears within an instant, and nothing sticks with you at all. The very Of Montreal inspired track, I think, You Don't Care, which has this like boppy instrumentation, and also Zack pulls off these falsetto vocals. You know, I think it really works so well. I mean, it has got that psychedelic twinge to it, like an Of Montreal track, like I just said. And again, it's just something that just really just works so well. The ballad type track Bloo, which comes second in the album, which is quite odd for a ballad type song. It's an odd placing, but it doesn't really feel out of place at all. It's just quite a strange way to structure an album, but it actually is really cute the way he's kind of like talking about this girl. He gets butterflies in his stomach. It's kind of, I want to say feminine in the way he's kind of like presenting himself when it comes to relationships and stuff. But it's just such a likable character that he's got here. I can't help but think, yeah, you know, I like this guy. He's basically just saying what's on his mind, and I feel like a lot of guys would have these thoughts too, but they might not always say them out loud because they don't want to seem like they're inferior or they're not as masculine. But Zack Villere just goes out there and says, when I'm with you, you know, everything is great, you know? On the track 22, we get a kind of relatable anthem for younger people who are aging, but they're suddenly like really realizing like, oh shit, like I'm 22 now, or I'm like, oh god, I'm 23, I'm 24, you know, that kind of thing. And although I'm not gonna be like, oh, I relate to this because I'm also 22, but there are points in my life where it comes to my birthday and I'm starting to just be like, what? Like, how am I this old? And a lot of people would relate to this too, this kind of songwriting. And, you know, again, I have no complaints about the instrumentation across this thing. It's just so bright. There are synthesizers that get used. There's even a rapper on this album as well. Javon, he's not exactly spitting bars or anything. He's just pretty low-key across the album. And yeah, you know, it's kind of an interesting addition to the album, because like there are some moments where it's kind of like trap inspired beats, but that's probably just to kind of fit with the times. I think Zack's just kind of staying trendy. It's not like he's a master at this kind of thing, but it works pretty well. And one last thing I want to say is that bizarrely I can't help but feel like there's a Tyler the Creator influence as well. I just keep getting these moments where some of the instrumentation just reminds me so much of Flower Boy, and I don't know if that's kind of what he's going for, but just the way the album flows and how the instrumentation kind of sounds like so organic and subtle, but it's very effective. And he does even mention Cherry Boy, the Tyler the Creator album, earlier on this album as well, in one of the opening tracks. So I'm thinking maybe. I do really like this album. It came out a long time ago, by the way. It was like August or something, but I've only just recently got into it. I'm going to give this a B+. It's going to be one of my favourites of the year, in my top 50 for sure. I do really recommend this. Give it a listen. Also, if you like this review, subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Tell me what I should review next. Yeah. Have a good day.